525. Have all the materials you see in front of you. And go ahead and pause the video and highlight what I've highlighted as well. I'm using different color pens and pencils to signify some stuff that's happening. So go for it. Maybe you're back. Rick and Courtney are determining their methods for locating the location of the key from our overall video of the section from the previous video. That's halfway between or a third of the way between the front porch and the rose bush. So Rick has a method, and I think it works, but let's just kind of like determine whether or not we agree with it. Rick drew a vertical line from point R and a horizontal line from point P, so blue and red, and determines the coordinates of point Z where they intersect. Then Rick divides the horizontal line and the vertical line into 3 equal parts and uses the coordinates to carry up to segment RP to divide it into 3 parts. Then he calculated the coordinates along RP. Courtney thought about the slope of the segment RP and then used the slope to divide that segment into 3 parts with 3 horizontal and vertical transformation, 3 shifts that'll allow us to take point P up to point R in 3 stages. That's what 1/3 means. We're going to divide this segment into 3 sections. So 3 transformations. She just divides the horizontal and vertical shifts by 3 to calculate each of the little vertical and horizontal shifts, and then determining the coordinates after that as a snap. Well, let's just go ahead and do what they said. So I've got some extra stuff here. I've got some red and blue and also connecting the different segments in black. So please add this information to what you have. Plus that's point Z, like Rick said. So here's what I did. I used a vertical line or down from R and a horizontal line over from P. It creates point Z where they intersect, and then we're going to count how many spaces this side of that triangle is and how many spaces this side of the triangle is. That's the vertical divided by 3, and we get 4. Count up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Count down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Count the middle. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, there's equal pieces from top to bottom. Take the count along here from P to Z, count that, and divide that by 3. So I counted 15. 15 divided by 3 is 5. I should be able to count over from P, count over 5 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And from Z, count back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then in the middle, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Even. Now use those dots to go mark 1/3 of the way along RP. So up, but also check over, check over, but also check down. There we have it. These are the 2 locations where, using Rick's method, he could have planted the key 1/3 of the way between the front porch and the rose bush. Now, Courtney does the same thing, but in a different arrangement. Instead of forcing a vertical and a horizontal translation, she's thinking slopes. And when you think slopes, you have to think rise, as in the change in the y coordinates, over run, as in the change in the x coordinates. So she's going to have up from P and over from R to create this slope triangle. There's still a requirement to count. So the height, the change in y here is 12, boom, and the change in x is 15. You take those change in y and divide by 3 to get 4. You change the x and divide by 3 to get 5. Now use that information to create little slope triangles, specifically 3 little slope triangles, because it's dividing the segment into thirds. So we're going to go up 4 over 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. There it is. So here is a little slope triangle. Do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have another little slope triangle. And one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. There it is. We have our rise of 12 broken into 3 sections and our run of 15 broken into 3 sections, and it tells us really the same location. Look at this. This location here is at 1110. This one here is at 6, and that's Rick's method. Courtney's method does, oh my gosh, the same thing. Does the same thing. Does either of those methods work better than the other? It's all about a matter of perspective and which one you prefer to use. Okay? Back page, last page of the section. Suppose Jean buried her key 1/5 of the way between the front porch and the rose bush. So to determine the location of the key is to take all those sections. I would probably use Rick's method myself. I would take the 15, I would divide it by 5. So delta x divided by 5. That's 15 over 5, and therefore that's 3. And I would take the front porch. So the front porch, I need to do this with delta y as well. Delta y over 5 is 12 over 5, which is 2.4. I happen to have that one memorized from a previous question I asked in class the other day. Then I'm going to take point P located at 2, 1. And I'm going to add 3 and add, is that backwards? I've got that backwards. 1, 2. I've got the coordinate backwards. Oh my good gosh. At 1, 2. I'm going to add 3 and I'm going to add 2.4. And by adding 3 and adding 2.4, I have the location of the key at 4, 4.4. You really should practice that for your mathematics. You should practice it for the quiz. You should practice it for Mathia. And I'm sure I'm going to ask this of you in different ways as well. So thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing to the channel, to this episode. And thank you for watching this episode so that you are seeing how to do page 525 and 526 using slope or using the side lengths of vertical and horizontal lines, creating triangles, etc., to find a way to partition a directed line segment. I'll see you in the next episode.